Are you studying for your FTCE 035 Reading K-12 exam? If you are, then why don't we practice together? My name is Ethan, and I'm a licensed Florida educator and test prep expert with Study.com. Today, we're going to be testing your knowledge of reading assessment and evaluation. If you're ready, then let's jump into it. Problem 1 says, which of the following types of assessment is used to determine if students have met a predetermined standard or benchmark? Remember, a standard is a criterion. So in other words, we're looking for an assessment that will allow us to take our student scores and compare them to a preset standard. And the correct answer right away is A criterion referenced assessment. It's in the name. We're trying to see if students' scores meet certain criteria, right? We can take the scores of our students and we can compare them to the standard score in the whole school district. Or we can compare them to the standard score statewide. And it allows us to see how our students measure up as compared to the standard. B, C, and D all list types of assessments, like C, a diagnostic assessment. But a diagnostic assessment, for example, is just a test that you give at the beginning of a course to see where students are at skill-wise. All of these other assessments are not criterion reference. In other words, we don't take those scores and compare them to a preset standard, and so they are not our answer. A is our correct answer, a criterion referenced assessment. Problem 2 says, which of the following methods would be the most suitable for monitoring a student's ongoing reading comprehension progress? What sticks out to me in that question is the word ongoing. So we're looking for a method that allows us to monitor student progress in a continuous, ongoing fashion, not just once or twice a year. Let's look at our answer choices. A says oral fluency measures. Oral refers to the mouth. So that's a measure of how well students can read out loud, how fluently students can speak out loud. But the question is asking us about reading comprehension skills. And so that's not what we're looking for. We're not trying to measure oral fluency. B says standardized tests. Standardized testing, like answer D, written final exams, can be a good way to measure student progress. However, you'll only give those exams maybe 2 or 3 times a year at the most. So they're not good methods of measuring ongoing progress. So I'm going to cross out answer B and answer D, which leaves us with the correct answer, answer C, informal reading inventories. Think of a reading inventory like this. You give students a short passage and you give them some comprehension questions to go with it. You measure how they perform on that. And because it's so short, it's short form and it's informal, you can administer these small assessments several times throughout the school year. So that makes it a good method of monitoring ongoing progress. And that's why answer C is our best answer. Problem 3 says, while reviewing formal reading comprehension assessments, a teacher notices a number of students are struggling with making inferences. Which of the following describes an effective whole group instruction method for addressing this issue? What stands out to me here is the phrase whole group. So we're not looking for an instruction method that only works on one student or a few students. We're looking for a method that you can use for your entire class, for the whole group. Let's look at our answer choices. A says, by teaching a different reading strategy to the class. No, if your class isn't understanding a certain strategy, you can't just skip it. They need that strategy. They need to know how to make inferences. So you can't just move on to something else because the students aren't understanding it. Let's get rid of that answer choice. B says, by reteaching the concept with different examples. And that's it. That's the correct answer choice. If your students aren't getting it with the examples that you gave them initially, then you can give them more examples, and that allows them to approach the problem in different ways, view it from a new perspective, and that helps them to understand it. Now, if the whole class isn't struggling with it, let's say only some of the students are struggling with it, then by giving new examples, those struggling students can come to understand whatever it is you're teaching, whatever concept, And the students that already understood it from last time get it reinforced and they get a refresher. Let's look at C and D. C says by assigning additional reading homework. No, if your students don't understand a concept while you're teaching in the classroom, how are they going to understand it when they're at home and you're not there to help them? That's not a good answer at all. And then D says assigning just the struggling students homework. Again, how are they going to get it without your help? They didn't get it during the school day, so they're not going to get it at home. And you're just assigning the struggling students with answer D. That sounds like punishment to me. You'll have a riot on your hands. B is our best answer because if students don't understand a concept, then if you reteach it with new examples, it gives them a new perspective and it helps them to understand it better. Problem 4 says, which characteristic is commonly associated with students at the early reading stage? So we're talking about students who are just starting out with their reading skills. With that in mind, we can use some common sense and get rid of some answer choices. Like answer C. Answer C jumps out to me immediately. Reading chapter books independently. If a student is an early reader, they're not reading independently, and they sure aren't reading whole chapter books, right? So let's get rid of answer C. Answer D says understanding figurative language. Figurative language is a skill that you teach students much later on in their academic careers. That's not something that an early reader tackles. So we get rid of answer D. B says by summarizing and analyzing complex texts. There is that word, complex. It stands out to you. An early reader is not reading anything complex, okay? We're talking about students who have no experience with reading. They're just starting out with these skills. So we get rid of answer B as well. And that leaves us with the correct answer. Answer A, recognizing most high-frequency words. High-frequency words are the words that students encounter the most when they're just starting out with reading. Common words like have and from. We have them memorize these words so that they can start reading simpler texts independently, not chapter books, but things like picture books and children's books. So that's why A is our best answer. It's a characteristic of the early reading stage. I hope I was of some help today. If you need any more help studying for your FTCEs, watch some of our other videos. Remember to subscribe so you can see any future videos, and you might want to check out some of the links below for some helpful resources. I'm wishing you the best of luck on test day.